Welcome to the Brohio Podcast Show. This week, we're traveling to the land down under, the chocolate thunder from down under, Australia. In this episode, we will be discussing dingoes, babies, and dingoes that eat babies. If you feel like this is something...
Nick, how much longer do you need me to play this thing? My mouth is getting really tired.
I mean, it's as far as your mouth, just relax your lips a little. Do like a motorboat, do that motorboat thing.
Okay, cool.
If you feel like this story isn't something you would like to hear, go check out one of our older episodes. As always, thanks for listening. I'm the delicious Nicolicious.
And I am Rob Dog, and this is the story of Azaria Chamberlain. Hey guys, so we went to Australia there for a second.
We got cheap plane tickets on Frontier.com.
Yeah.
We used the discount promo code Brohio and we got 0% off of our purchase.
It was just it took us to a page that couldn't even be displayed. We couldn't do anything, but we did go to Australia. Picked up a good didgeridoo.
We met some Aborigines.
Yeah. They were
Aboriginals.
They're pretty down to earth people.
Really hangy nuts and titties. They had some really saggy tits.
That's how I prefer my Aborigines.
I don't think the Aborigine people have plastic surgery like Americans do.
No, definitely not.
Some big old hangers.
Good for them.
Look like fried eggs hanging from a nail.
Just letting Mother Nature do its work.
Now, if you are listening to the Brohio Podcast Show, I would like to advise you that we are rude, we are crude, we are bad, we are tad, we are... I can't rhyme anymore.
I think that's about all we got.
Yeah. Sometimes I do really cool stuff, like we're snapping necks and cashing checks, we're riding rockets and sticking sprockets in our... And I say all kind of, but I don't have it today. I'm just not feeling it. My wife just filled us full of gravy and biscuits.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we'll be bleeding for.
Yeah, it's gonna come out of our butts in just a second.
I can't wait.
This episode is sponsored by Barbara Bush and Vern Troyer. You said it before the episode.
I did. R.I.P. It's been a rough week.
I guess Vern Troyer, he had alcohol poisoning quite a few weeks ago. I didn't know he was... Why are you laughing?
I already know where this is going.
Said he drank half a wine cooler and he's gone.
R.I.P. in peace.
Do you remember that celebrity show on VH1 wherever he was? Yeah. It was like a real world type thing, and he was on there.
He should ride around in a scooter.
They showed the one scene where he's hanging off the side of his scooter with his little baby dick hanging out, just peeing on stuff.
He was shit faced.
Looked like he was peeing out of his thumb.
Yeah, I remember that.
God rest his soul.
R.I.P.
I watched him on Cribs, and he had a nicer house than me.
Did he have like one of those like RC cars that he just drove around in? It was like the Power Wheel.
An Impala.
Yeah, that's right.
Or no, Escalade.
Escalade.
Jesus.
Yeah. It was a little Power Wheel.
Gosh. This episode of the Brohio Podcast Show is brought to you in part by our Patreon subscribers.
Hey, thank you guys.
This is a Patreon episode. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Very right.
First, we want to shout out our new Patreon pledgers. I'll let you start that one there, Rob.
Okay. First, we're going to start with our good buddy Sam.
Sam?
I don't know. Is it Farrell or Pharrell?
It's Phallus.
Okay.
It's pronounced Phallus.
Sam Phallus, thank you, sir.
He and his wife were at the live show. Tremendous people.
Great.
He does a tremendous blowski. He does a really good job. He gets down on it hard. Also, I would like to say thank you to Matt Barnes. He's a new Patreon subscriber.
And Nathan Batty.
Thank you so much, Nathan. He's a listener. I think he's friends with Natasha Ali. She's from Australia.
Yeah.
She's one of our favorite listeners as well. And also, I would like to say thank you to Mark Joseph Peak. He's a new subscriber.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. You make the world go round. And here's the deal, guys. We're doing $10. We're doing a $10 tier where if you pay $10 a month, just a pledge, we will call you on our Patreon episode. We'll talk to you. We'll Skype you in. We'll Facebook Live you in, whatever. We'll talk to you. You guys will get to kick it with the Bros of Ohio for half an hour.
And we'll try to guess what your privates look like.
Yeah. And if we get it right, you have to send us a picture of your privates. And last week we talked to Lauren Keller, and we tried to guess what they look like. And apparently we were wrong about her gender altogether. But she was super okay with it. She was the sweetest girl in the entire world. She's from Florida. You can go back and listen to that Patreon episode, because once you subscribe for $5, you get the Premium Talk Bro Talk, which are half an hour episodes where me and Rob say the most horrific stuff ever.
You just shoot the shit.
Last week we discussed the different kind of shits you take. You got the ghost shit, you got the hovering dump shit, you got there's all kinds of
good ones.
So go check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/BroHioPodcast. And like I said, we will call you for the in the $10 tier. Also, I'd like to say happy birthday to Casey Duvall.
Oh, hey.
Do you know who Casey Duvall is? He's Ohio Shedhead. He's the fucking...
okay.
He's the nutbag that left us a bad review and said, hey, you guys fucking kill it, but I'm going to give you 1 star. And I went, and he wrote us on Snapchat, and he said, I fucked up, man. And I said, we love you. We still respect you. And his wife was the one that said, hey, tell Casey happy birthday. And also, I said, what's something that Casey has going on that he's really self-conscious about? She said, he's really worried about his thinning hair. So,
oh man, that's
Casey,
the worst. I feel you, bro.
Yeah. It's probably best you don't use a profile picture in it, like your Facebook and stuff, with that beautiful half head of hair you got going on. So, oh
man, that's so mean.
We love you. Your wife put us up to this.
It's always the things you can't control. It's the worst.
I know. It is the worst. And we got another messed up review this week.
We did.
It was
absolutely hilarious, but I'm still kind of salty about it.
It was a good review. He said, you guys complain about not getting 1-star reviews, so you guys rock.
5-star show, though.
Yeah. And he gave us a 1-star. And the funny thing about that is that 1-star review this person gave us was the teetering balance in the universe that set us back to 4.5-star average on iTunes. We went from a 5-star average to a 4.5-star for a bogus review. So if you are the one that left us the 1-star review, thank you for taking the time to leave us a 1-star review. But if you could go back and change that would be fantastic. That would really work out nicely for us.
It definitely would.
That would help move us closer to the 5-star side of our average that we've been working on for so long. If you don't want to change it, go fuck yourself. We still appreciate you listening. Now, with that being said, if you are a new listener and you like the Brohio Podcast Show, there's nothing that helps us out more than your 5-star reviews on iTunes. If you don't have iTunes, you can download it on your computer, give me your credit card information, and then leave us a review, because we're worth that. Am I right? Am I right?
So. Come on. I like to think so.
And we get a lot of Android users that say, hey, we don't have iTunes. What can we do for you? Well, when you Google the Brohio Podcast Show, one of the reviews that pops up for Stitcher. So you can go to Stitcher and you can leave us a review on Stitcher. That's STITCHER. It's a podcast app. Leave us a 5-star review on there. So when people Google Brohio Podcast Show, they don't immediately see how fucking wretched we are. And in my show notes here, I have plugs with question marks. I don't know if that was for butt plugs.
Yeah, it's just the one I'm sitting on.
If that was for ear plugs, you're sitting on one?
I am.
I didn't hear a thing.
I know. Practice.
Right. This is normally where we plug other podcasts. But
we got a good one today.
No one wrote us. No one wanted to trade. I even wrote some shows that, didn't have a lot of listeners. And I said, hey, let's swap promos. And they didn't write me back.
You couldn't pay us to be on that one.
So go give Hillbilly Horror Stories. Give them a listen. Mysterious Circumstances. Moms That Drink. No, Moms and Murder. Go listen to them. They're fucking awesome. Ghosts in the Burbs. We got all kinds of people that we've traded with before. Go listen to them. They're fantastic. Paranormal, true crime. The kind of stuff that we cover.
Yeah, just a goodie bag of sexiness.
We have a newspaper article, Rob.
Yeah, as usual.
I changed the article 3 times this week. I had 3 good ones. I told you about the German doctor that dumped cocaine on his dick and fucked the lady and killed her.
Yeah.
He got that good. He killed her because everyone knows you got to snort cocaine off of people's dicks, not shove it in their gash. You feel me?
In their sex holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot. No, I didn't. We'll get there.
Okay.
Sorry. I think I just peed a little. Sitting on the toilet in her Washington, D.C. apartment, dripping with sweat and feeling like she was about to pass out, Amy Sanchez thought, no, I can't die on the can. And she called 911. Sanchez, a physically active and healthy professional in her mid-30s, had woken up that night just over a year ago with terrible stomach pain and an urgent need to poop. That's P-O-O-P, poop. But nothing was produced. She felt faint. Thankfully, Before she had time to collapse on the hard bathroom floor, the paramedics arrived. The turd called the 911 for her. It wasn't her that called 911. The poop rose up out of the toilet like a fucking dragon and
sprouted fingers. And
yeah. By the time Sanchez got to the emergency room, she was surprised to find that she felt perfectly fine. In the hospital, doctors performed a physical exam, a blood test, an electrocardiogram, all of which were completely normal. Doctor told Sanchez pain had triggered her vasovagal response. Vasovagal? I don't know. If you're a doctor and you're listening to the Brohio podcast show, give us a call. Tell us what the fuck that means. And they mentioned they often see people who faint after they've been constipated and straining. They left her with the following words of wisdom. Don't push so hard next time.
Great words to live by.
Defecation syncope is the official term for fainting while trying for number 2. In Canada, of course, here comes the fucking Canadians. Syncope accounts for approximately 1% of all emergency room visits, but it's not well established how many of these episodes can be attributed to defecation.
I love the word defecation.
And the thing about Canada is they have free health care, so they all go to the emergency room.
Because they can't shit.
And 1% of the motherfuckers, they're in there because they passed out while taking a shit.
God love it. Stop eating so much elk.
That fucking maple syrup's clogging them up, buddy. Some patients will not admit to it, and some doctors do not ask. What? That's fucked up. Dr. Robert Sheldon, a cardiologist at the University of Calgary and syncope researcher, says 2 to 3% of the syncope cases he sees in his practice are related to defecation. This was a really long article, so I'm going to spare you guys the rest of it like I always do when they're super long. But the moral of the story...
Don't push so hard when you're pooping.
He said,
relax.
He had recommendations. He suggests that people that are feeling sweaty, cold, or clammy, he suggests getting yourself flat quickly. It doesn't matter if the turd's hanging out or not. Just lay down.
Plank on the toilet.
There's nothing better than smashed up poop. So when it's coming out of you and you feel like you're about to pass out, just
lay down, relax.
Straighten out.
Throw back a cold one.
And that's how I go to the bathroom. I kind of sit down. I sit sideways in the toilet. I put my feet up in the sink, and I kind of dangle my head in the bathtub. And it kind of all works together, hand in hand.
I sit on it backwards so I can use the tank to hold up my phone.
Right. I sit backwards so I can just drink out of the tank while I get thirsty. Because I do like these marathon poops where I know that I ain't no bitch. I'm not passing out like these people are.
Yeah.
But I'm going hard the motherfucking paint. I'm going to go in there, and I'm gonna paint, if you know what I mean.
Hey, this is going to be a 45-minute one. I need to take some food, some snacks, my phone,
a tent,
a charger,
power washer, gauze. Why do you need gauze? Because I bleed when I shit, okay? This one's taking us to the land down under. This episode is sponsored by Kylie Kidner. She's a Patreon subscriber. Super cool, super awesome lady. Also, her 14-year-old daughter, Caitlin, she's listening as well.
What up?
And Kylie put on the Butt Chuggers Anonymous closed group. You can get in with a special code word. I'm not telling you what it is. She said that her daughter spilled water on her calculator and ruined it.
Aw.
And the dad was being an asshole about it.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
So I say you can take that calculator and shove it up your fucking ass, Dad. If you're listening, we just started a fight. You hear that? That's all right. And I got on the Butt Chuggers closed group. We have a lot of Australian listeners. And I said, hey, guys, what are some really good insults that I can use while using in this Australian episode? And I couldn't really find a good spot to insert these. But I am going to read you some of these, some of my favorite ones we have here. Apparently, they say cunt a lot.
They do, yeah.
In America, cunt is the red button word. If you say cunt, whomever you're talking to is immediately enraged with so much anger that they will fucking kill anyone within a 12-mile radius.
Right. It's a pretty vulgar word.
But a cunt is a very very popular word. There also we got dumb-arse wanker, and I think arse
Dumb-arse wanker.
Yeah, fucking dumb-arse wanker. I think arse is code for butthole in Australian. Is that right? Because sometimes I'm surfing Pornhub. I mean, I know guys that surf Pornhub and stuff, but there's always things that say like hottie gets it in the arse. I'm like, what the fuck is an arse? And it's always someone getting something shoved in their butt, Rob.
Yeah. I think I know in England that fanny is pussy. When fanny and arse.
My favorite one on here is like when you're giving someone a hand job. It's called a wristy.
A wristy. It's so good.
Yeah. Hey, sweetheart, why don't you come over here and give old dad a wristy, huh? Shut up, you fucking slag. Apparently slag is another good one.
Slag.
You fucking blonk. Hey, you fucking blonk. There's all kinds of good ones on here. And you can go to the Brohio Podcast closed group, Butt
It's
Chuggers
like they
Anonymous.
speak English, but they don't.
Some kind of...
It's like the weirdest words.
I don't even know.
Blanc.
And apparently in Australia, this person, she says, I'm not, this is Madeline Grish, she says, I'm not Australian, but calling American dollars burger bucks is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Burger bucks. That's so great.
We're so fat.
Oh, I love it.
We are fat America.
I like it. I'm going to start using that burger bucks.
Now, this episode is about Azaria Chamberlain. She is a baby that got eaten by a fucking dog in Australia. So of all the shit that Kylie Kidner could have passed along to us, she passes us a story about a fucking 2-month-old child getting eaten by a pack of dingoes.
Here I am laughing.
No, that's my cat. It's my cat laughing. That's not Rob.
Yeah, it's not me. I swear.
All right. So the night in question is August 17th, 1980. The incident took place near famed Australian resort Ayers Rock.
Yeah.
It's either Ayers Rock or Ayers Rock. We're Americans, so we're going to pronounce it like we see it.
Ayers.
That's Ayers Rock. We're going to put our hands up in the Ayer. It was a very popular camping spot, and it was also vacationing due to the rock formations and the amount of outdoorsy things to do. You could go there and get fucking eaten by dingoes. You can pet some tarantulas. I think they probably have scorpions.
Pick
there.
up some rocks. I'm sure there's some venomous snakes chilling there.
Yeah,
and
nothing better than a venomous snake just reaching up and grabbing a hold of your sack and twisting it like a big old sack of taters.
Of course, you got bees everywhere, too. Fucking bees.
And you got guys like me and Rob, come here. I'll suck the venom out for you. I'm a buddy like that.
I didn't get stung.
Yeah, I tell my wife that all the time. Like, I think I got a snake bite in my taint and I got to get the venom out. And she's like, the only thing that's going to get out is you of this bedroom right now. And I would like to say thank you to my wife. She helped us with the research this episode.
Thank you.
And I have no fucking idea why she did that, because she hates the show. She hates me. She hates Rob, but she helped. And I asked her today, I said, maybe you can come down on the Patreon episode. And she said, I'll think about it. So,
which is a strong no.
And she made us gravy and biscuits. So
yeah, now we're fat.
Now the Chamberlain family, they were on vacation. They were on family vacation or holiday. Is that they call it holiday in Australia?
I don't know. I know they do in England.
Right, Britain.
In England.
Which is completely different from where's Amy? Where's Amy from? She's from the bottom part. She's really upset when we fuck
I know, it's all the same.
I'm not going to challenge her. She's scary. Now the dad in the story, his name was Michael. The mom of Azaria was Lindy. And they had two sons, Aiden, Regan, and 2-month-old Azaria Chamberlain. And the husband, Michael, he was a minister of Mount Isa's Seventh-day Adventist Church. Apparently, this type of following, I'm going to call it a religious group, a denomination, they were viewed as outcasts in Australia like it was some type of cult. Now,
so kind of like the Westboro Baptist here?
Yeah. Now that even to this day, when you go online and you read people that have converted over from the 7-day Adventists to just being secular shitheads that, fuck each other in the head, they all talk about all the stuff they weren't allowed to do. They weren't allowed to listen to rock and roll music. There's some of them that said they couldn't show their ankles. It was, it sounded like goddamn Al-Qaeda or something.
Yeah.
But fortunately for us, Americans killed all Al-Qaeda. They've murdered all the Al-Qaeda, so we don't have to worry about Al-Qaeda no more.
We're working on it.
Kim Jong-un, he's shutting down nuke sites. Your guy D. Trump, he's saving the world. Saving him.
And here comes the mail.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I would like to say something about Donald Trump. I love his TV show. But, the family, they set up camp at a very popular site called World Heritage in Ayers Rock Public Campground. The day before, the family was exploring the area, though. So they got there, I don't know. I can't remember which day they got there, but the day they got there, they started exploring around, checking out some of the rocks. Checking out some of the hiking trails and whatnot. The boys climbed up on portions of Ayers Rock with their father. Now, while the boys and their father were up on the rock, Lindy, the mother of Azaria, she explored a rock formation called the Fertility Cave with the baby Azaria.
Fertility Cave, all right.
It said if you go in there that there's a Bigfoot that'll fuck you in the ass and get you pregnant. Man,
said
woman,
that your baby will be eaten.
Yes, it'll be eaten by a Bigfoot. Now, at one point, she exited the cave, and this is very ominous here. She exited the cave. She looked up above her. When she did this, she saw a dingo up above her, staring at her, not moving. She later claimed that it was her belief the dingo was casing the baby that she had clenched in her arms. I don't know who came up with the name Dingo.
Yeah, I know. It's a fun name for like a wild, ravenous dog.
Yeah, right. And here in America,
we call them wolves.
wolves are coyotes.
Yeah, or coyotes.
Just shit that'll fuck you up. But a dingo is something I would call my dick. It was like, hey,
you want the dingo?
Yeah, come over here and get some of this dingo. It's hard to say dingo without using an Australian accent.
It really is.
Like, hey, why don't you come over here and get some of this fucking big old hairy dingo? Because I don't think they shave their nuts in Australia.
I don't think so.
I read that in my research that Australian women don't shave their nuts.
I hope not.
Oh, stop it. At around 8 p.m., the Chamberlains were all gathered around a picnic table, hanging out with some other couples that were there at the campsite. One of the people at the table, her name was Sally Lowe. She was one of the other couples that they'd met at the campgrounds they were hanging out with that night. She took a bag of trash to a trash bin nearby. She heard something behind her. She looked back to find a goddamn dingo falling about 4 to 5 steps behind her.
Just wanted some food out of the trash, man.
This becomes kind of quite prevalent in this little case study here. Is the people you feed the goddamn raccoons, the raccoons don't quit coming around.
They keep coming back,
right? And that dingo that was 4 to 5 steps behind her did scatter once she saw it. But then Michael, the father, I'm sorry, he tossed a piece of bread to a dingo that was walking around the campsite. Yeah,
he done fucked up, Michael,
and that pissed off Lindy, the mom of Azaria. She said that it was a bad idea to encourage the dingoes, and about that time, one of the sons, Reagan, I think, he was playing with a mouse, and a dingo pounced out of nowhere onto the mouse, killing it and taking off with it. It scared the shit out of everybody. They said that the boy he shit his pants. I can't confirm that because they did destroy the evidence, but
I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. And shortly thereafter, Lindy had just finished breastfeeding she was breastfeeding Azaria and was taking her to the tent. And the tent was about 30 feet away from the picnic table. She was taking Azaria to lay her down because she'd fallen asleep, but Reagan, one of their sons, he had already fell asleep. And so it was Aiden that was chasing the mouse. Reagan was asleep in the tent. She placed Azaria in a bassinet with blankets on top of her inside the tent. Son Aiden was with her. He walked over to the tent with her to put the baby down, and he said, hey, Mom, I would really like a bedtime snack. How about a can of baked beans? And I did read.
That's so Australian.
He asked for a can of baked beans for his nighttime snack. I'd really like a can of baked beans because I really want to sit up all night and shit my pants. I want to fill my sleeping bag full of shit so I can just roll around in here and you guys can smell my big baked bean shit all night because I love my baked beans, Mummy. They called Azaria, they called her Bubby. That was her name. That was their nickname for Bubby.
Bubby?
Yeah, for the little girl.
That's cute.
Now she got the beans from the family vehicle, and the family vehicle was parked right next to the tent. It was a yellow hatchback, and I don't know what the fuck kind of car it was. It was not a Honda. It was not a Ford. It was something in Australia that I've never fucking heard of before. After they got the beans, they returned to the picnic table where Michael was with some other people they'd met at the camp. She returned to the picnic table to rejoin the campers. Approximately 10 to 15 minutes later, Lindy heard the baby begin to cry loudly, which summoned her back to the tent. And now she said that the cry she heard from the baby was more of like a distressed, not like a normal...
Right, not like a I just shit my pants cry. It was
not right. I do that cry a lot.
I do too.
But that was not the cry
that
was made. And when she arrived back to the tent to check on the baby, she observed a dingo was partially in the tent and appeared to have the baby's head in its jaws.
Oh, God.
Shaking the baby. Lindy screamed, my God, the dingo's got my baby. And I was talking to our buddy Matt Trimble last night, and I said, he said, what are we talking about this week? And I said, we're talking about Azaria Chamberlain. That's a baby that got eaten by a dingo. And he said, is this the my God, the dingo got my baby story? And I said, yeah. So I guess going back, this is from the 80s. This is a very, very popular story in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember that.
I have never heard of the story ever before.
Really? I remember that specific part of it. Yeah. That was really it.
They said this was right on par with the JonBenet Ramsey, O.J. Simpson thing as far as how it just, clinched the the imagination of the entire country there in the Northern Territory. Well, all of Australia, really. Now, as we've all seen on the internet before, Australia is a completely fucked up place to live. There's all kinds of shit there that'll eat you. You've not truly felt pain until you've had a kangaroo tail shoved so far up your fucking ass that you just fucking bleed out in the sand and you lay there because you got fucked by a kangaroo tail. And I was watching, don't ask me how, I was down the wormhole the other night on YouTube. And I watched kangaroo fights for about a half an hour.
Nice.
The motherfuckers got hands, okay?
Yeah, they do.
And what they do is they lean back on them fucking tails. And they'll kick you right in the fucking dick.
They're strong as shit, those tails are.
There's that one video that's always online. It's just Mike Tyson kangaroo standing by the window.
Yeah.
Fucking jacked with his chest, looking like he just got done doing prison push-ups.
Yeah, man, that kangaroo is completely ripped.
Yeah. So one thing you don't want to fuck with in Australia are the women. They're meaner than shit. Except for
they get that beautiful accent though.
Yeah, they do. It's hypnotic. They're like sirens.
It really is. I know. Seriously.
Hey, wait, you come back here and I'll go ahead and suck your dick. And you go back there and she kills you.
Worth it.
She plays in your blood.
Worth it.
And nothing happens. Now, why don't you tell us about animal attacks in Australia there, Rob?
Oh, holy shit. So we have here in front of us, we have a nice little chart of animal attacks and deaths and hospitalizations from these animals.
This is from our research assistant, Julie. She's you can find her on the Butt Chuggers closed group. She's very active. She'll talk to you. She'll send you pictures of stuff, her feet. She does foot fetish work and stuff where people will pay she got really hairy toes and people will pay for pictures of her hairy toes.
God bless her. So this is going from, it looks like studies from 2000 to 2013. So we got leading the list of crazy animals they have here. First, we got the wasps, the bees, and the hornets.
That's nothing different than America.
Yeah, it's really not.
I mowed over a yellow jacket nest 2 times last summer. Worst experience of my entire life. They fucking follow you, man. They chase you.
Yeah, I heard that, the old cartoon thing of jumping in the water and stuff, that doesn't work.
Right.
They'll sit there and fucking wait for you.
Yeah.
Well, we had 27 deaths in these years. It's 25 from bees and 2 from wasps. And this is hospital visits. You got a little over 12,000 hospital visits. You have snakes also, 27 deaths, about 6,100 hospital visits. Spiders, no deaths, but almost 12,000 hospitalizations just from spiders.
Size of the spiders in Australia too?
They're crazy.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah. And then ticks and ants. So 5 deaths from ticks or ants. Like that's kind of weird. Almost about 4,500 hospitalizations. Marine animals. So you got the 3 deaths from box jellyfishes.
I think this might have been a spelling error. I think it might have been dicks. There was 5 deaths from dicks, not ticks.
They possibly could be.
I got a big old Australian hammer waiting right here for you if you'd like to check it out.
We have 3 deaths from the box jellyfish, which I hear is horrible, and then 3,700 from other different types of marine animals. Then you got centipedes and millipedes.
They didn't kill anybody, Rob.
They didn't kill anybody, but they did hospitalize 119 people.
We had 120 people get hospitalized by fucking centipedes.
And 61 hospitalized from scorpions, and then this is the crazy one: unknown animal or plant. 2 deaths.
Unknown.
So and this is the thing that's crazy about Australia is that the
outback will kill you.
There's so much shit there.
Yeah,
they've talked about it before, how much landmass they have, and
I've seen these centipedes and millipedes. These things are fucking huge, man. But just the fact that they've killed 100 or they've sent 119 people to the hospital,
right?
Like, what can we help you here today for, sir? Well, I was riding my centipede and I fell off. That's how big they are. You fall off and you get hurt.
They don't have horses; they just have centipedes.
It's so majestic there.
I know, it's so great.
Now, the first investigator on scene after the dingo attack, he used a flashlight to look inside the tent. He did observe blood on the rug in the tent. He also observed paw prints that led away from the tent's entrance. Pretty open and shut, slam the door kind of evidence right there.
I love how they keep a rug in their tent, though. That's fancy.
That's I think it's probably because it was on, they were just on the sand. It was just like a little teepee tent or something, They don't have us American tents where they come with floors and shit. They got to put the rug down. Many of the nearby campers, which is nearly 300, they joined in a search for baby Azaria. They formed a human chain to look for anything that might lead to find the baby or presumably what was left of her.
Oof.
Yes.
That's rough.
Sad. Now, Michael, the dad, this is where it starts to get weird, Rob. He did not join in the search efforts because he assumed the worst.
Okay, yeah, that's... Even if I assume the worst, my ass would still be out there.
As for me, hitting my fucking chest right now.
Yeah.
I would be out there.
I would fuck a dingo up.
In the words of Billy Madison, you get your ass out there and you find that fucking dog. That's what would be happening in the world of Nicolicious. I would be out there in my skivvies. I would wear a headband because I'd be sweating really bad.
Yeah.
You sweat in Australia. I'd have a big fucking knife. I'd be killing every dingo out there and cutting their stomach open. And I would get my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, sorry. Now, he did not join in the search efforts because he assumed the worst. He told other campers she's probably dead. They said, hey, Michael, why aren't you looking?
So optimistic.
He said, hey, she's just probably dead. I'm not going to look.
I got 2 other of these cunts.
Yeah. I got 2 more of these cockwomblers running around here I got to take care of. I don't got time to look for a fucking baby. So like I said, he told the other campers she's probably dead. He also kept making it a point to tell everyone that he was a minister of the gospel.
Oh, geez, here we go.
And also, from my wife's research, she said that Lindy, she kept telling everyone at the campsite that if it was God's will for the baby to die, then that was God's will.
Oh, my God.
I promise you, Lindy, she's still alive. She might be listening.
I hope she is.
Michael's dead. Lindy, it is never fucking God's will for your baby to die. I promise. God doesn't work like that. And that's one of the problems I have with God is it's God's will. It's God's will.
Then why do we pray if it's God's will?
Exactly. Why do all those kids... There's no... What? Satan wants you to have sex with people, smoke reefer, and enjoy the things of the world. But God let all these kids die at Sandy Hook. He let this baby get eaten by a dingo.
9/11.
Talk to me about your God. During their research, not during their research, during their search of the area, they did find many sets of dingo tracks, but nothing else. One tourist had broken off from the chain to explore the tracks of a large dingo that went under a sand ridge. He noticed a depression in the sand where it appeared the dingo could have laid something down. He called for one of the park rangers and then an Aborigine native tracker. They studied the depression in the sand. The depressed sand did appear that whatever was laid there was made of weave. When Lindy put babies...
Weave? Like cheap hair?
Yeah, it was made of ethnic hair. That's what we're going to call it, is ethnic hair.
Okay.
When Lindy put baby Azaria down for bed, she was wearing a matinee-style jacket, which are traditionally made of a weave-type pattern. Now, it's like a yarn type thing. It was like little holes. It was not like a fucking Aunt Jemima wig. It was like a little yarn jacket. From that point, they couldn't quite pinpoint any more footprints. In terms of the investigation, there were 4 detectives assigned initially, right off the bat. And this is where it gets all Australian on us. Inspector, and I think they call a lot of their police representatives inspectors there that are like, kind of a detective type.
Yeah.
So Inspector Michael Gilroy had full belief that the Chamberlains were indeed telling the truth. There was no doubt in his mind that the story they'd given about the dingo taking the baby and running off with it, that was the story that stuck for him. So he was kind of open and shut for him. Unfortunately, there were 3 other investigators involved. Frank Morris, one of the other investigators, he kind of kept his opinion to himself and didn't say either way. He was kind of just going to let it play out and didn't really say how he felt, if it was a dingo or if maybe something else had happened to the baby.
Coincidentally, he's Zach Morris's dad.
He is. And if you're not familiar with Zach Morris, you can go back and watch Varsity Blues. It's a movie from the... Is that...
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Enter John Lincoln. He said there was not a fucking snowball's chance in hell that a dingo killed a 10-pound child and carried it hundreds of yards away. And apparently dingoes, they're kind of small.
Right.
They're not huge. I don't see 10 pounds being a huge problem.
I don't see that being a problem either. There
had been... Think about Ayers Rock. There had been recent attacks on small children by dingoes in the park. None were fatal, but the fact was the facts did not lie, according to this inspector.
But you also got to think, I mean, it's other attacks on small children, so we're not necessarily talking about babies here.
Right.
So, I mean, small children, if it's, like a 2 or 3 year old, they can kind of fight back, whereas a baby is going to be more defenseless.
Exactly.
So, there's different circumstances.
I would think if this park was overrun with so many dingoes like that, you gotta do something about it. Whether it's a ranger that sits out there and kills all these things, or I'm not all for the torture of animals, but you have to keep your population safe.
Yeah, from what I remember hearing, I think I talked about this a while back when how like Australia is like completely overpopulated with animals.
Yes,
it all started with like something small, like groundhogs or something, and they brought in wild cats to get those, and then the wild cats overpopulated, so they brought in wild dogs.
We got the cats running around, they got the groundhogs pregnant, the groundhogs got big enough they could fuck the kangaroos, and the kangaroos started eating the koala bears, and now we got koala dingoes that run around. They'll get inside your refrigerator, they'll smoke all your cigarettes, they'll kill your children. And that's what happens in Australia.
Yeah, it's just crazy stuff. And, they were introducing different types of species that counteract the other ones, and those species get out of hand. And
who the fuck knows what a koala bear really is?
I don't know.
Is it a cat? Is it a bear?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it a panda? What is it?
It's fucking adorable. I know that much. And it'll scratch your damn face off.
I hear they're not very nice.
And I hear they're meaner than shit.
Right. To demonstrate, this is fucking awesome right here, okay? To demonstrate that this was indeed not possible, that the dingoes could carry around a 10-pound baby, mind you, these motherfuckers, during this meeting, the detectives, they were in a hotel bar getting completely bombed when they had this discussion.
Of course.
Now, John Lincoln, he went outside and he filled a bucket with 10 pounds of sand. He said, "Hey, you fucking cunts, if you don't believe me, watch this. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to get me a bucket of sand and we're going to put this to rest right now." He attempted to hold the bucket in his mouth, but was unsuccessful. But was only successful for less than a minute. He then challenged the other officers to see if they could better his time, and it wasn't completely clear if the other detectives agreed to hold the bucket of sand in his mouth. But just because,
oh my gosh, this logic is so fucking shit.
As a completely different species, he could not hold a 10-pound bucket of sand in his mouth for longer than a minute. And fucking try me, I could do it.
Right.
I could hold a 10-pound bucket of sand in my mouth for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, wild animals and things are going to have way stronger jaws, and
you have to take into consideration the adrenaline probably going through this animal system when it's got it just killed its prey. I mean, that's
what it does.
When you talk to hunters, real life humans, when they kill, turkeys or deer, they say the adrenaline rush you get when you kill those animals, you can't explain it. And I'm not condoning the killing of animals. Me and Rob, we don't eat meat. We eat each other's meat, but we can't tell you guys what we eat because we don't want to offend anybody. But we like vegetables.
And meat.
We've said biscuits and gravy 3 times a day. We didn't say if there was sausage in it. So then, like I said, he challenged the officers to hold the buckets in their mouths, and they it wasn't clear if they did it or not. So he was basing his entire investigation off
whether or not he could do it.
Whether he could hold a 10-pound bucket of sand in his mouth.
I can do it. No way a fucking dingo can do it.
We're from Australia. We're not a bunch of fucking pussies. The world sees us. We're stronger. We're better. We should be able to do this. About a week after the disappearance, a photographer set out in the Ayers Rock area. While walking along an area of dense foliage, he observed shredded clothing near a boulder along the path. Further inspection found that they were a torn nappy and a jumpsuit. And I don't know what a nappy is. That's what we call hose here in America. You say, "Hey, man, that's a motherfucking nappy-headed hole right there. You need to get that bitch up off your couch. She gonna stay here long enough. She gonna start getting the motherfucking mail here. You gonna get bugs and shit. That's what happened. You'll be letting them nappy-headed holes lay on your couch." I don't know what a nappy is in Australia. I think it's probably like a onesie.
Yeah.
All right. Or it's a blanket. "Where's my nappy?" That was British. I'm sorry. He immediately reported his findings to the proper authorities. Now, this fucking dumbass is wandering around with a camera. He didn't take any pictures of the clothing he found or how they were laying there. No one took any pictures of how the clothes were laying there. So what are we getting into again here, Rob? Is the a botched investigation.
Completely. Yeah.
This guy had a camera. He's a goddamn photographer. And the first thing he thinks of, instead of taking a fucking picture,
his job is to take pictures, and he doesn't take a picture of it.
Oh, I really needed to blow my nose for about 2 fucking hours. I think I'll use this little nappy right here, pick it up, and blow my nose into it.
Oh my gosh, I love the logic and people like, ugh.
He blew his nose in it. It looks like my wife's panties with someone blew the nose in there.
Oh.
All right. On August 28th, a new detective was put in charge of the case. Thank God fucking Sergeant Dickhead was taken off. He was wandering around the police department carrying fucking buckets of sand with his mouth. The new detective in charge was Detective Sergeant Graham Charlwood. He had the officers working under him dig into license plates that were there the night of the disappearance, but he was kind of on his own. He was trying to keep the other people busy so he could do his own thing. So he had them chasing license plates, it seems like, for nothing. But you may remember Inspector Gilroy from the hotel sand bucket scene. I think Gilroy was the one that he didn't really say either. I think he thought they were innocent. Right. He's the one that said the family gave the correct story and he was sticking by their claims. Although Gilroy did pass some odd info to the new Detective Charlwood before he assumed the case. Gilroy said when Lindy brought the baby in for her checkup to the doctor, she dressed the baby in all black. Now, I don't think this is
all right.
It's not the most damning piece of evidence. Maybe they were like big fans of The Used or something like that. Some kind of.
We've all been there.
Yeah, I haven't, but you definitely have.
Oh, I definitely have.
Yeah, but they thought it was awfully strange that when she brought the baby in, that the baby was wearing all black. And they said Lindy was she was kind of a trendsetter. She was kind of stylish, and she would make matching outfits for her and the baby. So it wouldn't be completely foreign for her to dress Lindy in all black like she was possibly going to kill her in a couple weeks.
She brings her in like just a ripped up Slayer shirt. Yeah. A big like pentagram painted on her forehead.
Oh, you here for your checkup? No, she's here to fucking party.
She's here to drink the other newborn's blood.
Oh, Jesus. What's kind of strange for me is when Azaria was taken to Ayers Rock for this vacation, she was only 9 weeks old. She was just 2 months old. What kind of parents are dragging their kids through the fucking desert when they're 2 months old?
I don't know. I wouldn't.
It's a different time right now. I don't like,
definitely.
My kids are grown and I don't like taking them places.
Unless you're trying to leave them.
Vacations suck.
Yeah, okay? They really do. They're rough.
They're expensive.
They're expensive as shit.
They're hot. Sometimes bad stuff happens. We're going to cover that next week episode.
Oh, yeah, we are. It's a good segue.
I'm not going to tell you. And another strange thing that Gilroy passed along, the doctor, he was kind of taken aback by the fact that the baby was wearing all black. So he said, I'm going to go ahead and investigate the meaning behind the name Azaria.
Okay.
I think it also had something to do with the fact that the parents were Seventh-day Adventists, and the assumption was they were complete fucking lunatics. They were,
of course,
like we said before, it was kind of viewed as a cult. They weren't normal. Okay, when whether he used a fucking dollar store name dictionary or what, he found the meaning behind the name was sacrifice in the wilderness. But a little deeper research comes to find out that the name actually means whom God aids. If you're reading into the sacrifice in the wilderness thing, that's going to steer you towards the direction the prosecution is eventually going to go down, that Azaria was indeed murdered by Michael and Lindy. Now, Gilroy also said that when they went back and questioned everyone else nearby that night, no one could say for sure if they saw the baby, just that Lindy was holding some type of white bundle the entire night. So no one actually saw the baby inside Lindy's arms when they're...
She's just sitting there caressing a loaf of bread.
I got your baked beans right here in my arms, Reagan.
I got the bread in the nappy.
I know you're trying to take a big old shit in your sleeping bag tonight, but Mommy's got to hold these cans of baked beans and make it look like a baby for a little bit.
Maybe that's where the weave came from.
Yeah, it was the little wig on.
Here's baked beans with the weave on.
Oh, can I see a baby? Oh, you can't see my fucking baby.
Your baby smells like beans.
Oh, Jesus. Now, no one at the campsite that night, they didn't see the baby. They just, like we said, she was just wandering around with a white bundle. So that was damning for them, for the Chamberlains. At this point, investigators began to build a case against Lindy for murder. Labs from all over the country performed various experiments to see the plausibility of what Lindy had claimed as far as the dingo attack. They wrapped a bundle of, here we are back at Australian logic.
This is so great.
Are your fucking scientists found in an alley somewhere?
Oh man, this is so good. This goes back to my weave theory.
They wrapped a bundle of bacon in similar clothing to what Lindy was wearing that night and tossed it to a pack of dingoes at a wildlife center. Naturally, they fucking shredded the thing. They destroyed it. The bite marks that were left on the clothing during the bacon toss were studied. Dozens of dingoes from around Ayers Rock were shot and killed, and they were dissected to look for Azaria's remains. The media finally got to this thing and did nothing but stir trouble for the Chamberlains. They drilled into the public's head that this was more than likely a religious sacrifice because of the tag that the family had that they were Seventh-day Adventists. That
right.
This was indeed some type of sacrificial offering. 2 years prior to this incident, the Jonestown mass suicide occurred. Some media outlets said that this was directly linked to that mass suicide as well. Now, the thing that sucked the most for the Chamberlains is there was already a preconceived notion through the entire country that Seventh-day Adventists were complete fucking weirdos. And did really weird stuff. I don't know if that's still the case about that group of people. I'm sure they're awesome people. If we have any listeners that are Seventh-day Adventists, reach out to the Brohio Podcast Show. We'd love to hear from you. They also said that the baby was perhaps offered up in a sacrifice for the sins of the seventh day. Just like anything, the public was captivated by the story. They watched the Chamberlain's every move during the public interviews. This goes back to when you're on trial for something like this, you should probably stay away from the media as far as interviews and whatnot, because every time they got on TV, everyone in the country saw them and started to make assumptions about them and started to gather their own opinions of what the Chamberlains really did. But something seemed off with the couple when they did their interviews on TV. They were not reacting the way that a normal couple would react when losing a child. I don't know. Could you please go find me the fucking book on how you're supposed to react when your child dies? Everybody's
going to react differently. And I mean, especially if they were the religious freaks who thought that, it was God's will, then I mean they're not going to act sad because that's what they believe. If God wanted it to happen, then that's why it happened.
That baby's in such a better place without dingoes right now.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean it could just be one of those things. I mean, the way you react, obviously I know how I would react.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't be able to function, man.
Everybody's different.
The saddest part about the story is all the bacon they threw to those dingoes.
I know.
Wasted so much fucking bacon.
I mean, if you think about it this way, I mean, there's some people in the world that eat shit. I mean, I don't eat shit, but I mean, I'm not gonna judge them.
My name's Bill Wilkins, and I'm 73 years old. I heard you talking about shit, Rob.
Yeah, we are. Always. I think we're always talking about shit, Bill.
I just wanted you to remember that Bill Wilkins died in his chair, and he died in his own shit.
I will never forget.
Thank you.
That's our tagline.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Never
Appreciate
forget.
it. Go have another beer, buddy.
October 1st, 1980, several hours was devoted to questioning the Chamberlains by Charlwood, the detective. He wanted to hypnotize Lindy, to which she became very upset about it. The church would not allow that. Let me tell you about the fucked up tactics the Australians were doing right there. They were trying to hypnotize even if hypnosis is a real thing. Biggie Small does a song called Hypnotize. You can check that out. And you can go back and listen to our Tupac episode where I do all kinds of really good Biggie Smalls impressions.
It was pretty good. Pretty on point.
Yeah. The hypnosis thing that's crazy to me. They wanted to hypnotize her, then grill her about the possible murder of her child. And obviously, if you're hypnotized, you're you're going to say things you might not necessarily say. Just like whenever sometimes I wake up and I sleep talk, and my wife's like, "What the fuck were you talking about last night?" I'm like, ain't got a goddamn clue.
Fuck if I know.
And it's been an ongoing thing my entire life. When I sleepwalk, I wake up and I talk about baseball gloves, and it's
really
the weirdest fucking thing ever.
That is really weird.
I have no idea. But then when I go to the sporting goods store and I see baseball gloves, I go into like a trance. I'm completely honest right now. It's the weirdest thing ever.
I like that.
At this point, after those series of interrogations, there was a coroner's inquest. Now, I had to look into what an inquest is because I'm not the biggest true crime fan in the entire world. This is where you get the coroners and the judge together, and they present all the evidence, and they say, hey, here's all the evidence. Are we going to charge this person with what we want to charge him with? Now, involved with this inquest was the magistrate and the coroner of Alice Springs, Dennis Barrett. A representative for the Northern Territory laid out a case that there was no way dingoes inflicted the damage on the clothes that was provided as evidence. They theorized the Chamberlains laid the clothes where they were found. That's so now we're starting to turn this into like a big fucking conspiracy here where the Chamberlains actually, they think they murdered the baby and then doubled back later on with these shredded clothes and laid the clothes down to set the police off their tracks. Lindy was questioned during the inquest, but she was not rattled. She kind of stuck to her story. It was not, they were trying to dig into her and make her look like a bad mother, make it seem like that she had disdain towards the baby, that there was also the possibility the police were looking into that she was dealing with postpartum depression, and this was something that might have caused her to kill the baby. They were also thinking that there was some thoughts that the baby might have been sick. She was dealing with a lot of acid reflux, and Lindy didn't want to deal with the baby being sick, so she killed it. Now, the other two kids, Regan and Aiden, they had severe problems with acid reflux as well when they were babies. They spared those kids. I've personally had a kid with very bad acid reflux. Not that big of a fucking deal.
Right.
Not enough to kill the baby.
Yeah, a little cranky, but...
My 6-year-old Sophie, she shattered her really expensive glasses we just got for her. I did not kill her. I said fuck 2 times. I did not hit her. I screamed. I said the fuck word. I apologized for saying fuck to her, but I was very upset. She woke me up from a nap to tell me that she destroyed her glasses.
Oh, man.
Fucking hate kids so much. If you are listening to the Brohio Podcast Show and you need kids, you need someone to fight your kids,
take them to Australia. Feed them to a dingo.
Yeah, I'll do it. Bring them to the delicious Nicolicious. Now, Lindy, she did a good job of making it seem like that she had nothing to do with the murder of the baby. She kind of stuck to her guns, not making anyone believe that she was the bad mother they were trying to portray her as. Then Barrett announced, the coroner, Barrett, announced on live TV that it was his belief the baby was indeed killed by dingoes, but the family recovered the baby and scattered the clothing and got rid of the body. Why would you do that? Why would you, if your baby got killed by dingoes? There's so much flawed logic there.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Now, armed with the information from the inquest, 10 months later, the Northern Territory Police conducted a search warrant of the Chamberlain's house. Now, this search warrant lasted for about 4.5 hours. Things of note that they found during the search warrant: a pair of scissors, because no one in Australia, the thing about scissors are they're outlawed in Australia. No one's allowed to have scissors in Australia, but the Chamberlains, they had scissors. And if you're familiar with the Brohio Podcast Show, you know that I'm making that up right now. We're just making fun of the situation.
Of course.
They also took their yellow hatchback that they drove to Ayers Rock. Detective Charlwood advised Lindy that the search warrant was performed due to a break in the case. There was a British forensic expert, and his findings were that there was no way the damage inflicted on the found clothing was performed by a dingo.
How can you say that, though?
Well, it was a British forensic expert. And quote, Lindy said, "I didn't know there were any dingo experts in London."
And perfect sense. I mean, that's a very good argument.
There are no dingo bite experts in the entire fucking world, I promise.
Yeah.
But they're portraying this guy, and he testified in court that, he testified about these bite marks, and these juries, they're listening to it, and like, yeah, That seems right. I wonder where he got his degree from. It definitely wasn't YouTube because YouTube wasn't around in 1980.
Right.
But I've got my degree in like putting together swing sets and stuff. I got my degree on YouTube for that.
Same.
A new inquest was performed. Not because of the scissors, and this is where it gets twisty, Rob, but there was a massive amount of blood found inside the family vehicle.
Okay.
The barrister or barista, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's Australia. It means attorney presiding over the new inquest made it very clear that from his questioning of the Chamberlains, he believed that Azaria took the baby. No, I'm sorry. He believed that Lindy took Azaria from the campsite that night, placed her in the family hatchback, and killed the baby using a pair of scissors as they recovered from the home. One biologist testified that the blood found inside the vehicle was indeed fetal blood. This wasn't fecal blood. This was fetal blood.
Okay.
Blood from a baby. The British dingo expert, he testified about the clothing being ripped during the inquest. It was enough to charge Lindy with murder and Michael as an accessory after the fact. So here we are. She's fucking riding the long dick of the law. She's getting ready to go to prison. When the trial finally started, Lindy was pregnant. So Michael beat that pussy up and got her pregnant while she was out on bail, but before she was charged with murder.
Good for him.
9 men and 3 women were seated in the jury box. Ian Baker, the prosecutor for Northern Territory, opened his argument with saying that Lindy did slit the throat of the poor child, but made it clear that they had no intentions of proving there was a motive for the murder. Yeah, so he pretty much went right from the rip. He's like, we want everybody to know that she did kill this baby. We don't have to prove why she wanted to kill
We don't
it.
know why.
Yeah. Now, Sally Lowe, you'll remember she was the one that was walking to the trash can and had the dingoes following behind her. She was in the campsite that night. She was called to the stand, and she told the same story that Lindy told. She was thought to be a witness for both the prosecution and the defense, but she did not help the prosecution very much. Many witnesses were called to the stand, and none really helped the prosecution. So at this point, it seems like Lindy's gonna skate out of here.
Yeah, she's gonna get out.
No one saw them cleaning the blood out of their car. One witness that was in a nearby tent heard a low, growling dingo minutes before the alleged attack.
Okay.
This same witness said that earlier in her trip, she had a dingo latch onto the arm of her 12-year-old that she had to shoo off. And get off my kid. Right. And I would think that something like that would be much more dramatic instead of just like, oh, shoo out of here, you fucking cunt.
Yeah.
And all it says, the witness said that the dingo latched on. And when I tell someone that my dog latched on, it means he was humping. It doesn't. He was just, he hopped up on there. He was trying to fuck. So that might have been what the dingo was doing.
Trying to give him some of that Australian putty.
Finally, the prosecution got to the witness they needed, Amy Whitmaker. She is the one that observed Michael, the dad, acting strangely. She heard Michael say, quote, "She is undoubtedly dead by now." She heard Lindy say, "Whatever happens is God's will." She also testified that she saw the couple walking in the brush together for around 15 to 20 minutes by themselves during the search. Prosecution said this was likely when they were burying the baby. Prosecution called to the stand a bleeding hitchhiker that the Chamberlains picked up earlier in the trip.
Okay.
So let me rewind 5 minutes. They found a substantial amount of fetal blood all over the car. So why would you call a bleeding hitchhiker to the stand that was in the vehicle? Let me tell you why. The hitchhiker was he was called to the stand because they wanted him to testify simply that he did not carry a large amount of fetal hemoglobin in his adult bloodstream.
Oh my god.
So they got him on the stand. They're like, "True or false? You were bleeding in the Chamberlain's vehicle." "True." "Now, do you have the blood of a baby?" "No, I don't." "You may exit the stand, sir." That's how that went.
That's great.
Oh, as dumb as a job they did up until this point, the prosecution began calling their forensic experts to the stand. They testified that the blood on the clothes flowed from the neck down like a neck slash. So, Rob, we've got fetal blood in the car. We've got clothes that appear to have been suffered during a neck slash. One biologist testified that blood found inside the family car did indeed belong to an infant. The defense made her admit that we're talking about the biologist that verified the infant blood. The defense did make her admit that immediately upon finishing the laboratory tests on these blood samples, she destroyed all the blood samples. So the trial is not even close to being over yet, Rob. And the blood that was used for the testing is completely destroyed already.
Sounds great.
This
is a fucking shit show.
Now, one of the experts said dingoes would cause copious amounts of blood and a baby head would not fit in a dingo's mouth. Immediately upon the expert saying this, he was presented with a picture by the defense of a fucking dingo with a full-size baby doll head in its mouth. And I guess the expert just kind of sat there and didn't say anything. So,
well, I mean, and even if you think about it, like I wouldn't see
I could fit a baby head in my mouth.
I wouldn't see a dingo really carrying a baby by the head. I think of it carrying it by its neck. Because if you think of most things, anyways, whenever they carry like a small thing or whenever they go to attack, they go for the neck. I know like bears will do that.
I did read that dingoes specifically, when they kill their prey, they do grab it by the head and shake it to break its neck to render it useless.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so that makes sense as to why the dingo grabbed the baby by the head. Now, the defense called Lindy to the stand. In a lot of murder cases in America, the accused murderer is never called to the stand by the defense.
Yeah.
More oftentimes, they don't take the stand at all. I mean, now, during cross-examination, the prosecution asked Lindy to explain how did the dingo shake the baby, and the prosecution also asked Lindy if all of this was just a mere fantasy inside her head. Many testified about Lindy's character and how much of an asshole these dingoes were. So they said that she was an awesome mom, and that the dingoes at the park, they
just complete assholes.
They would completely invasive species. They were getting in everything. A lot of people said that they would wake up in the night and have dingoes poking their heads inside their tents. Now these dingoes, we talked about this before. They were on a schedule, man. They were running around. They knew where food was going to be and when it was going to be there. They knew the places they could stick their heads to get food. And they're scavengers. That's what they do. Mm-hmm. And if an animal like that reaches the point of desperation that its only food source, if it'll kill a mouse, it will kill a small baby. Because just like a dog will kill a cat to eat it, a dingo will kill, something a quarter its size.
It's easy prey.
Right. But, Rob, we've got a car full of baby blood. So
that is a little suspicious.
Right. Many... Now, the defense attorney hammered home that there was no motive for the murder, that there had to be a motive. The prosecution didn't need to prove motive, just that the murder was committed. So, and this is kind of stupid too. The prosecution, one of their arguments to the jury was, prove to me that the dingo was guilty. Don't prove to me that Lindy is innocent. Prove to me that the dingo was guilty.
They just have a dingo sitting off to the side, like with his tail tucked between his legs.
You told me if I come here to testify, I'd get to eat some fucking babies. Where's the babies? Now, the judge told the jury before the deliberation, he said, remember, Sally Lowe, the woman that was there that night at the picnic table with them, she heard a crying baby from the tent. If that indeed happened, if she heard the baby crying from the tent, there is no case here. She was not murdered in the car. And that makes perfect sense. If the
Absolutely.
And I'm glad the judge said that. But on October 29th, the jury found Lindy Chamberlain guilty of murder and Michael guilty as an accessory to the murder. Lindy was given life in prison. Michael had his time suspended. Just a month into her prison sentence, I almost said after a month into her prison pocket, and I saw the pictures of Lindy when she was in prison.
Uh-huh.
And are you familiar with the term getting turned out, Rob? That's when you go into prison as a straight individual.
Oh yeah.
And then you get something shoved really far up your ass and you become a homosexual. It's called getting turned out.
Okay.
And I saw the pictures of Lindy. She had fucking biceps and a mullet, and she really looked like she enjoyed vaginal play with other women more than she enjoyed penises at that point. I'm not trying to judge a book by its cover, but she looked like she went to prison and she'd seen some shit. She looked like a gym teacher coming out that motherfucker. Now, she gave birth 1 month into her prison pocket. Kalia was the name of the baby. And Lindy, quote to the media, she said, "Let's see them make something out of that." So Kalia was a completely made up fucking name with no meaning behind it. And it was a rib at the fact that they thought...
that their name meant something.
Yeah, to sacrifice the baby in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Reports began to surface that it wasn't blood in the car, it was paint emulsion.
Oops.
100,000 Australians signed a petition to free Lindy. On January 1986, English hiker named David Brett fell off of Ayers Rock during a night climb and died from his fall. Now, where he fell, it happened near, I guess there was a large area of mini dingo layers. Police found the jacket that Lindy described Azaria as wearing the night she was taken, the white matinee jacket made of weave that made the depressions in the sand. They found that jacket near the dingo layers. The chief minister ordered her release immediately. They had a victory feast at a local college.
They serve baby there.
Serve chopped baby and dingo. The Northern Territory paid her $1.3 million for wrongful imprisonment. Michael and Lindy eventually divorced. Michael died just a few years ago. Lindy, she's still alive and kicking.
How long did she do?
I want to say is right around like 3 or 4 years, I think.
Just got 1.3 million.
1.3 million. And they said that the money that she was paid came nowhere close to how much she paid as far as the defense. And she got a lot of money from the church. I guess the church gave a lot of money as far as sponsoring her attorney and whatnot.
Okay.
But
whew. Yeah, it sounded like they're pretty much grasping at straws there.
Yeah, down there in Australia, grabbing straws. They're grabbing kangaroo dicks. They're grabbing koala bear dicks. And one thing I want to touch on is, well, first of all, thank you, Kylie, for sponsoring this
thank
episode.
You.
This is a really fun episode. A lot of research here. It was a very good story, though, I feel like. There was a lot of people last week that said right around the certain minute mark, someone ripped a big fucking fart in the microphone.
It really did sound like it, too.
I went back and listened to it. It sounds like one of us took a shit directly in the microphone.
It was like 39 minutes in or something like that.
But it was my microphone stand that when I move it, it makes a god-awful farting noise. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you guys right now to prove that it was not my butt. Oh, yeah.
I swear he's really just moving his microphone. He's not really farting.
Coming back now.
Here it goes. We're proud of the fact that that we'd own up to our farts if we ripped them.
We fart during the Patreons, but we don't fart during the main bitch.
Yeah, we try not to.
In our next episode,
this is gonna be a good one.
Are we telling them or no?
No, let's not tell them.
Leave them fucking hanging.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fucking good one though.
It is gonna be a good one. It's something that everyone our age is gonna want to listen to.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't know if it very well could be a 2-parter. But we'll see what happens during our research.
A long one-parter.
Really long one-parter.
Yeah. This one didn't go as long as I thought it would.
It didn't.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If we could get you to go leave us a 5-star review like we asked before, thank you so much. We are beyond appreciative. I don't think we normally talk to the Patreon person sponsoring the episode.
Yeah, it's almost 12 o'clock noon right now, so it's like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning there now. So
I'm gonna.
We can try later.
We might add it in. So
yeah, we can add it in.
If not, thank you, Kylie.
Yeah, thank you.
She said she didn't want to be on here anyways. So we love you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.